Hello, this is Shannon with Dogwood Crochet, and today I'm going to show you how to crochet this star ornament. So I will link the pattern in the description box below, but you can shop the full written pattern on my Etsy shop. Also, if you like this star, I also have a pattern and tutorial for a larger star tree topper that you can place on the top of your tree. So let's get started. So to make this ornament, you're going to need a 5.5mm crochet hook and then some medium worsted weight yarn. So I'm using Mary Maxim Starlit Sparkle. This is the color white gold and it's a medium number 4 size yarn. And then you'll also want just a small piece of scrap yarn or twine, and you'll use that to make your little loop to hang it on your tree. All right, so we're going to start out by making a magic circle. And then we're going to chain 3. Now we're going to place 3 double crochet into the circle. And then we're going to chain 2. So we just did one grouping of our chain 3 and then our 3 double crochet. Now we're going to do 4 double crochet into the circle. All right, so now we have 4 double crochet, then we're going to chain 2, and then we're just going to repeat the 4 double crochet, chain 2 3 more times. So we should have a total of 5 of these groups at the end. So I will come back once I have finished these last 3 groups of 4 double crochets. Okay, so I just finished my last group of 4 double crochets, and then I'm going to chain 2, and now we're going to close the circle. So I'm going to pull on the tail until one of these strands starts tightening, and then I will pull on the tighter one to close the circle, and then pull on the tail to tighten that loop that we just pulled on. All right. So now you should have this pentagon shape. And then to finish off round 1, we're just going to slip stitch to the first stitch of the round. So if you look at the star here, this is our pentagon shape. And now we're going to start working each of the points of the star. So to do our first point, we're going to chain 1, and then we're going to single crochet into the nearest chain space. So this one that's right behind where we just slip stitched. So 1 single crochet into that chain space, and then we're going to work a single crochet into these next 3 stitches. And then 1 more single crochet into this last chain space. So now we should have 5 single crochets, and then we're going to chain 1 and turn. And then we're going to single crochet 2 together in the first 2 stitches. So we're doing a decrease. We're going from 2 stitches to 1. So to do that, we're going to insert our hook, yarn over, pull up a loop, and then we're going to insert our hook into the second stitch and yarn over, pull up a loop. And we have 3 loops on our hook, yarn over and pull through all 3 loops. So we just went from 2 stitches to 1 stitch, and that was a decrease or single crochet 2 together. Then we're going to single crochet into the next stitch, and then we should have 2 stitches left, and we're going to single crochet 2 together between those last 2 stitches. So we're decreasing from 2 to 1. So now at the end of row 2, we should have 3 stitches. So we went from 5 to 3 stitches. Then we're going to chain 1 and turn. For row 3, we're just going to work 1 single crochet into each stitch. So we are ending with three stitches again at the end of row 3. Then we're going to chain 1 and turn. Row 4, we're going to single crochet 2 together in the first 2 stitches. And then we're going to do 1 more single crochet 2 together, starting with the same stitch that we just worked into. So we have 1 stitch left now, but we're going to work into the same stitch and then the last stitch. So now we have 2 stitches. We just went from 3 to 2 stitches. Chain 1 and turn. And then we're going to single crochet 2 together between our last 2 stitches. So now we are just down to 1 stitch. Chain 1 and turn, and 1 single crochet into that final stitch. And then we are going to fasten off. And that's how you do 1 star point. So if we look at our star here, we just did 1 of the points. So now to start the next point, I'm just going to get my yarn and attach it into this next chain space here. And then I'm going to tie that in a knot to make sure that it's secure. And then I'm going to get my hook and pull up a loop and chain 1. And then we're going to repeat those same steps that we did for this star point. So we're going to single crochet in the 5 stitches across. So the first one goes in this chain space, and we go into the next 3 stitches. I like to hold my yarn tail flush along my stitches to kind of weave it in as I go. And 3, and then we work into this chain space here, single crochet. So now we have 5 stitches, and then we just repeat what we did for the other star point. So we chain 1, single crochet 2 together in the first 2 stitches, single crochet in the next stitch, and single crochet 2 together in the last 2 stitches. Chain 1 and turn, and then 1 single crochet in each of the stitches. Chain 1 and turn. And now we have 3 stitches, we're going to go from 3 to 2, so we do single crochet 2 together in the first 2, and then we're going to work into that same one that we just came out of, single crochet 2 together between that same one and the last stitch. Chain 1 and turn. So now we have 2 stitches, single crochet 2 together. Now we're down to 1 stitch, chain 1 and turn, and 1 single crochet into that last stitch. And then we just fasten off. And that's it. And then we just repeat that process all the way around. So we just did 2 of our star points, just like that. And so we're just going to do that 3 more times until we have our 5 star points. So I'm going to continue working on the rest of these star points, and then I will come back for the next step. All right, so I just finished the 5th point of my star, and here's what it's looking like so far. It's looking a little bit rough, but that's okay because next we need to add the border, and that's just really going to clean everything up really nicely. So I just finished, and I have the wrong side facing me when I finished this star point. So now I'm just going to flip my work and chain 1. And then I'm going to crochet all along the border of the star and just do single crochets. So just at even increments, single crochet all the way around to get that nice border. I just like to find areas where there's maybe a space that's easy to work into, and maybe try to do 1 stitch per row on the star point. Those are some tips if you are struggling to get it at even increments. You could look for those things. And then I'm doing 1 into the chain space here, and then just single crocheting along the next star point. And then I'm coming up on my first point or corner, so I'm just going to single crochet. And then to get that really nice corner, I'm going to chain 1, and then I'm going to single crochet into the same area that I just went into of this star point. Just like that. And then we just continue along the other edges. I also like to crochet over these ends as I go, so just make sure that this end is flush with the stitches that I'm working into, and then that's less ends that you have to weave in later. And then work into that chain space. So here's what that border is looking like so far. And then once I get to kind of the edge of this star, I'm just going to let this end hang back, and I'll snip that off later. I've woven in enough of it along this edge, so I don't feel like I have to keep carrying it as I go. I'll just let it fall to the back. And then we have another tip of the star point here. Once again, just single crochet into this tip, and then chain 1, and then place 1 more single crochet into that same tip. And then we just keep working around. So I'm going to just continue working on this border, and then I'll come back when I'm finished with the border. Okay, so I'm just finishing up the border here. And once you've gotten to this last point of the star, you can just slip stitch to join to the first stitch, and then just fasten off. So now we have our star. It's looking really good. So since we wove these ends in as we went, I'm just going to go ahead and snip those off as well. If you want, you can weave them in even more, but I honestly don't have the patience for that. So I'm just gonna snip them off. They should be pretty well woven in though, since we worked over them. And then I will weave this last end in. All right, so now we have our star. So you could choose to block it. I did block this one, and this one has not been blocked. And it probably depends on the type of yarn you're using, how well it will hold its shape or not. But I find that adding the border definitely helps it to keep its shape. But you could also just kind of stretch it out a little bit, see if that helps with the shape, but definitely recommend blocking if it's not holding its shape. And then we're just going to add our little ornament hanger. So I'm just going to thread this piece of twine onto my yarn needle. You could use scrap yarn for this too, it doesn't have to be twine. And then I'm going to bring it from back to front, and then I'm going to go front to back. And now we have our little ornament hanger. Then I'm going to even out these ends and just line them up here, and then tie them around each other into a knot. And that's it. So I hope you enjoyed this tutorial on how to crochet this cute little star ornament. And the full written pattern is available on Etsy. I will have that linked in the description box. But otherwise, I hope you enjoyed this video. Please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. And Merry Christmas!